Welcome, welcome, welcome. You're listening to the Ask Brien Radio Show. Brien spelled with an E, because the only way to spell Brien is AskBrien. And we're part of the Ask Brien Network, which is AskBrien.com. And we have our co-host, Alex Grossman. Alex, are you there?
Mr. Brian Johnson, I am live and on the air, and we are live and on the air. So really happy to be here on a lovely Southern California Thursday.
It's always good to have you co-host. Let me tell you, everyone needs a wingman. Although I should say now wing person. I don't want to affect anybody
about that.
So I'm really glad to have my wing person here. And we have a very great show. But before we get into that, before we get to our guest, for those people who have never listened to the Ask Brien Radio Show, I don't know what to tell you. Obviously, you know everything, and you're doing very successfully, and you must be billionaires because you don't need to learn anything. But if you need to, if you're one of the other people in the world that doesn't know everything about business, and once in a while may have an issue where they have to say, you know what, I don't know the answer to that business question. I need some assistance. I need some help. Well, that's what Ask Brien's all about. And Ask Brien, again, is spelled with what, Alex? An E. Because the only way to spell Brien.
That's an E, as in Brian.
For excellence, because Brien is excellent. And if you spell it with an A, or you spell it Y-A-N or I-A-N, nobody knows what you're talking about. But when you spell it I-E-N, we all know that is for the Ask Brien Network, AskBrien.com, and that is where you can learn anything you need to know about business. You can listen to a webinar, you can ask an expert, and you can ask the business community. Now, the experts are not automatic. This is not a bot where you call in and I decide to become an expert and automatically I'm an expert. No. We vet you. What does that mean? You have to usually have minimum of 10,000 hours in one subject area, because until you have 10,000 hours of any subject, you really don't know enough. I know that might offend some people. Well, that's who I am. The reality is you have to have some background. Now, there are some people that do have less than 10,000 hours that do get accepted as experts. They're few and far between. They usually have something unusual about them in their background, and they can qualify. So that means if you don't have 10,000 hours, you can apply, and you still may be able to make it. If you have 10,000 hours, that's not a guarantee, but at least we know that you have some background, some experience. Experience isn't everything, but it certainly is very, very helpful. It certainly means you've made enough issues in your past in your life that you've gone through experiences where you can figure it out and go, wow, I did it this way that time, but you know what? Now I know what to do. That's what Ask Brien's all about. And I encourage everybody to sign up for Ask Brien. How does that spell? With an E. With any further ado, our guest, his name is Jimmy Avendano.
Yes.
Jimmy, are you there?
Yes, I'm here, and thank you for having me. It's a pleasure, and it's an honor.
Okay, so for those listeners who have never heard of you, and honestly, I'll be honest, I didn't hear about you till a couple of days myself, till my publicist informed me about you. So some people don't know who you are or what you do. So let me get a background. I know you have something to do with coffee. That's all I've been told. And I know that you're not Starbucks. So other than those two facts, I don't know much about you. So, and our listeners would like to learn about your background. So let's go over your background. How did you start out in business?
Well, I am from Medellin, Colombia, and I moved to the United States in 1993. Actually, I moved to California, where I found it to be, a little bit more a faster pace than I wanted. So I moved into Springfield, Illinois, which is about 3 hours from Chicago. It's the capital of Illinois. And I went there to go to the university. I did because of my English, I had to do a lot of classes. So I did about 15 years of university, including an associate's degree, bachelor's in business administration, and I finalized with all my classes for a master's degree in counseling and psychology. One of my dreams was to help people, and I wanted to do counseling, for free. just because of the fact that I knew the patients require more time than just 6 visits that insurance typically allow for. So I was very happy. I was doing my internship. I was already set to go into my private practice, and one day I heard about they were looking for somebody in coffee in Springfield in a place of 100,000 people, and it was kind of like, one, nostalgic, but two, strange, and I just got started to investigate. And Bandomari Corporation, which is one of the most prestige and oldest companies that build coffee equipment, is based out of Illinois. And actually, the Bond family has been working in the United States since the 1800s. Abraham Lincoln was the attorney and best friend of Jacob Bond. They did a lot of things from railroads to electricity to banking to food distribution. And in the 1940s, they started a company, to increase their coffee supply around the United States. They start building equipment. And the equipment was so amazing that they ended up getting out of coffee and then just building equipment for most of the companies around the world, from Starbucks to Coca-Cola to Juan Valdez, McDonald's, Quick Trip, all the convenience stores. And I did have an interview with them. I politely not declined, but I just didn't want to take it because I was very committed to my university. But they did offer me a job that allowed me to practice my counseling. Within about 6 months, I realized that you cannot burn the candle from both ends. One day I had a patient that was, one, a little fragile, and it took me like 3 or 4 hours of counseling. And at the end of the day, I didn't have the stamina because I've been working my other job. So, I had to make a choice. And I selected coffee because I can change more lives through coffee than through counseling itself. And that was around 2006. Did a various jobs internally in the company, working in the Middle East, Asia, and Europe, and eventually moving to working on projects in Mexico, Latin America, and the Caribbean. And about 3 years ago, I decided to, stop with a lot of hurt because I love the company, I love everybody there, but I wanted to do my own company. And I wanted to go into coffee, into the ingredient, into the raw material, and that was conflicting with what they do. So I just decided to open my company here in Tampa, Florida. And now we are here, importing and developing a lot of coffee projects all around the world. And we are very excited about, how coffee looks like today, and even more excited how it's going to look tomorrow.
So your company now, what is the name of your company currently?
Well, I do have, 3 different activities that I'm working, okay? I'm working on Insta Brew, which is a single serve. It's coming soon. More details coming soon. We are working on a single serve that is eco-friendly, that is nutrition smart, and is not detrimental to the environment. We have a company called Yellow Rooster. Yellow Rooster imports the finest coffee, meaning coffee is graded, on points from 1 to 100, and the best coffees you can find from 80 to 93. At the end of the day, there is not perfection, as we know. Every diamond has a cloud, so, you cannot find a 100-point coffee, correct? So we, on the Yellow Rooster, manage coffees that are 85 all the way to 93, 94. And they go from, competition coffees, which people use those coffees to compete all around the world and win barista competitions, roasting competitions. Then we have static coffees, which are fermentation, are coffees that you take from nature. Then you do a process like, a cold fermentation, which means, leaving the cherry on the seed so it can go all the way into the green coffee bean, and it provides a different profile and a different tasting notes. And then we have a specialty coffee, meaning, Peru. Peru has a beautiful natural.
Hey, Jimmy, I don't mean to interrupt you, but, some of the
Yes.
listeners don't know all these things. So first of all, what is this point system of 0 to 100? And you mentioned, 85 to 93 is the best that coffees can get. But okay, how are they determining what's 100 points? What is the system? Let's go over that a little bit, because I don't think you're all...
Beautiful question.
Yeah.
Beautiful question. And the point system, there is the Specialty Coffee of America, which is headquarters in California. They oversee coffee quality, and they do the parameters to just coffee, correct? So coffee, you measure, on the raw materials on 4 factors. One is the color of the bean, correct? If you have a defect in the coffee, you get a different color other than green. So different colors have different points that you deduct from the green, okay? 2 is the size of the bean. You have a screen where you select the different size, okay? A coffee that is healthy will have a normal size, correct?
Hold on.
So,
what's a normal size?
So it goes on a screen set between, 12 to 18. 18 and 17 are Supremo coffees. And there is Supremo Europe quality and Supremo United States quality. Okay.
What's when you say 18? What size? Miller?
It's the screen size. 18 is the whole of the screen, correct? So you have different screens, just like you do with rice, like you do.
You mean like a different font size?
A mesh.
Okay.
So you put the coffee into a sorting mesh, and then you start vibrating, and then your smaller coffees go all the way to the bottom, your bigger coffees stay on the top. So the top is mesh 18 and 17. Then you have 16, 15, and 14. Those are called UGQ, usually good quality. And the key word there is usually, correct?
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, sometimes it's not a good quality, okay? And then you got your numbers 13 and 12. Those coffees are just, sub-products. Coffees that really are too small, that didn't develop right, they maybe could not be that healthy, or broken coffee beans. So if you buy a whole container of coffee, then you're looking at by size, you got to see what, the value of the coffee. So now we have, color of the coffee, we have the size, we have the density of the coffee, okay? The density of the coffee is measured to see how much juice the coffee has, okay? So you got, there is numbers like, 700. So 700 grams on a vessel that holds 1,000 milligrams, okay? If you got 700 of green bean, it's a good density. Anything below that, you start questioning the quality of the coffee, okay?
Okay.
And then the last one is flavor, and flavor is done by cupping. There is a lot of, a great amount of people that do cuppings, and those cuppings happen at origin. With origin, it means the countries like Colombia, Peru, Mexico, Nicaragua, Guatemala, Jamaica, Ethiopia, all the countries that grow coffee. And so they do a cupping, and that's the seller's cupper, correct? So the seller is going to look for, flavors, notes, body, aroma, acidity levels, to say a few of them. And then the cupper is going to say this coffee tastes like, let's say, blueberries, cinnamon, and chocolate, and I believe this, and the acidity is 8.5, and I believe this coffee should sell for this amount. Now, when it gets here to the United States, it goes into the cupping labs of all of the roasters, regardless of the size. And the cupper of the roaster is ensuring that he's receiving the quality that goes under that brand, whether it's a Starbucks, Honest Coffee, Blue Bottle, Intelligentsia, all of these people that manage different types of coffee qualities, correct? And then they cup the coffee, and they say, you know what? No, I think this coffee cut 2 points higher. So now instead of having an 84-point coffee, you got an 86-point coffee, correct?
Okay.
And that is the cupping.
Right,
so you have...
So hold on, a couple of things.
Yes.
So you can go in to a store, and if they have coffee beans, you can put your hand into the coffee bean thing, put it in your hand, and you can tell which one is high quality and which is not?
Oh, yeah. Definitely by smelling it. correct? By looking at the beans, you know, but at the end of the day, a lot of the coffee beans that you buy in the grocery store, and you know, I'm a very positive person. I don't speak any negative about nothing, you know. So, you know, it is the way that it is. Most of the coffee is ground, and it's just, you know, you lose a lot of freshness when you grind your coffee, correct? But then I know that most people in the United States don't have grinders in their homes. But, you know, you don't see it in the whole bean. But even when you take that coffee and you brew it, you do a cupping, you will know the defects. And you notice the defects when the water gets cold. Because when it's high, it's just coffee. And if you put milk and sugar, it's just coffee with milk and sugar, which I like it either way. I like all the coffees. I drink all kinds of coffees, you know. I travel a lot, so I go to all the hotels and I drink what is in front of me because I like coffee, correct?
I just learned I don't know much about coffee. And when I was a kid, I trusted Juan Valdez and his TV commercials. And, you know, and I learned that Folgers was what was in my cup. Wow, there's a lot to this. Coffee's a real big industry, isn't it?
It is. Well, let me tell you something funny. You know, Juan Valdez, you know, the market of Juan Valdez was about $5 billion back in the 70s and 80s, correct? We needed to sell the coffee out of Colombia. The first Juan Valdez was a Cuban actor out of Florida. You know? And
wow.
A Cuban actor out of Florida.
Wow.
And
I believe
there is new generations of Juan Valdez. So you see Juan Valdez on the tennis match. You see Juan Valdez at the Ace Ventura Pet Detective, you know, bringing the coffee to Jim Carrey. You know, there was a lot of marketing put into Colombian coffee, but we have fantastic coffee in Colombia, amazing. But other countries do too, like Guatemala has fantastic coffee. Peru, you know, I buy coffee from a person, he won and he broke all the records around the world. You know, his coffee on grain sold for $100 a pound. His name is Juan Heredia out of Peru. And
so in your business,
his whole region is amazing. Yes.
In your business, being a coffee merchant, right, and coffee matters, and we'd love to understand more about what you do. It seems like with all these different coffees, there's a lot of competition out there. So what makes you go into a business where you've got this incredible competition? Of course, you know, we all think of the biggest competitor is probably Starbucks, but what made you go into this?
Oh, well, I mean, you know, one thing, and, you know, I've been doing this for 3 years, and, you know, we're growing and we're doing fantastic. So, you know, we're not in the business of just selling coffee. We love coffee and we love selling coffee. That is the instrument, but it's not the music. The music is humanity. The music is not competing. You know, I love to work with the Starbucks. I would love to work with anybody. Most people, just they drink what they drink. The best coffee in the world is the one they like until they taste something better, correct? I mean, I come from Colombia, and we used to eat sardine with rice. Now we eat sushi with avocado, with this and with this sauce, and it's same thing, but a different quality, correct? And I'm not comparing any coffee here to sardine, but what I'm saying is that until you know anything different, you adapt to what is in front of you, just like an iPhone. iPhone 3 was nice until iPhone 4 came in, correct? And we are now in the iPhone X something. So if you see the food that shaped America and the way they trading meat before and the way they were trading food in the 1800s and early 1900s, a lot of the successful companies like Heinz Ketchup, correct, made the money by doing natural products that were needed to provide health to consumers. I'm here to serve the consumer a good cup of coffee without being judgmental, without being semantical, just saying, listen, this is the information. You can use these factors, and you can combine them to the cup that you want to perceive in your palate.
That is a lot of information about coffee, and I hate to tell you this because I'm sitting here with a Starbucks iced coffee, so I hope that doesn't affect you.
No, please enjoy it. Please enjoy it, man. Every coffee sold is a coffee that is making the coffee industry growing. Is the second highest rated commodity, and there is plenty of farmers, you know, working with grace to provide you that cup of coffee. So please enjoy it and take pride in that.
We're going to have to take a quick break, but before we go, the one question everybody wants to know. From my Starbucks coffee here, what percentage is it? 85, 93? What do you think it is?
I mean, it'd be hard to do it, but I do believe that they buy in the low 80s. So it could be 81,
Really?
82. Yeah, they are a good company, man. Starbucks is a good company. Same thing as Juan Valdez. Most people in coffee are very good people. They're just trying to adapt to the knowledge of the consumer.
Wow.
We got to take a break. We'll be right back.
The best live theater can be found right here in the Santa Clarita Valley. The Canyon Theater Guild has been entertaining audiences for decades with top-quality musicals and plays. Located on Main Street in Old Town Newhall, CTG also offers workshops for the young actor in your family. For more information, call the box office at 799-2702 or go online to canyontheater.org.
Healthcare can be difficult if you're underinsured or have Medi-Cal. Samuel Dixon Family Health Center can help. Services are available on a sliding fee schedule. The mission of the Samuel Dixon Family Health Center is to give the Santa Clarita Valley access to affordable, quality primary care. There are 3 locations to serve you: Canyon Country, Newhall, and Valverde. Go to sdfhc.org for more information and to find the location most convenient for you. If you have a business problem, if someone doesn't honor their agreement and you need an aggressive attorney with over 27 years' experience, the Law Office of Peter Bronstein has helped partners resolve disputes, franchisees resolve disputes, and other business owners who have a challenge. Let the Law Office of Peter Bronstein take your stress away. Visit lacorporateattorney.com. Don't wait too long and lose your rights. Solve your business challenge problem today. Visit lacorporateattorney.com.
Hometown, your hometown station.
Welcome back. Welcome back to our listeners that didn't listen to the first half of the show. Well, I would go and grab a cup of coffee before you listen to the rest of the show, because we have what I rarely say is an expert on coffee. I've learned so much about coffee that I'm like waiting to go out and get a second cup. I have 1 cup, but I'll need to have 2. It's kind of like the Razor Brand commercial. Not 1 scoop, but 2 scoops. Well, I need 2 cups of coffee, especially after listening to all the information. We're just touching the bin. Now, this is the Ask Brien Radio Show, and Ask Brien is spelled with an E. And we have our co-host, and his name is Alex Grossman. Did I pronounce
That hurt my ear, but thank you, Brien.
Did I pronounce your name correctly, Mr. Grossman?
Yes, you did.
And because I was so long on the wind there, and because we have such an expert here that I want to listen to, Mr. Jimmy Avendano. And notice I just said his name normally. I wanted to. We were going over a whole bunch of information. The last part of our show, we were going over the different quality points that you have to determine the coffee quality. And you had a company. It was Yellow Rooster. Was it called? Was that the name of the company?
Yellow Rooster.
Yellow Rooster. And
yes.
I roaster because coffee's roasted. You were going over that about your company, Yellow Rooster, and when you went over Yellow Rooster, you would explain. I interrupted you about the quality, so you had some additional information you were going to tell us about Yellow Rooster. If you want to start from the beginning, you can, but you're giving us information about Yellow Rooster and had talked about the quality of the beans. I wanted to go further along that and then get to your third company and then get some more information from you.
Okay, yeah, no, I think, Yellow Rooster is a company that belongs to most of, everybody that wants to participate into the company. And what we do is just reflect the quality of farmers that are providing value-added proposition to their coffee, correct? That they are providing quality, that they are doing everything and anything to make sure that the product reflects, the quality that they're getting out of their fields. So Yellow Rooster is 85 and above coffee. And we got fantastic coffees coming out of Colombia. We have coffees coming out of Honduras, Peru. And the most beautiful thing is that the value-added proposition is not just on the coffee. I have a coffee from Medellin, Colombia, from the Comuna, which was the most dangerous neighborhood, when Colombia was not going through the good times. And now they're so close to the mountains that there was a young guy, his name is Christian Regosa, went there, helped them improve their quality, and he's helping them, commercialize the coffee here in the United States. So we are taking everything, social impact, we are taking quality on the coffee, we are taking, anything and everything that represents a good, relationship, so it can support a transactionship. So that is Yellow Rooster, and, we can talk about that later. And the other company we just have is Coffee Design Limited, and what we do is we design, coffee programs from A to Z, from, different companies around the world that do programs related to coffee. So we have programs in Trinidad and Tobago.
What is a coffee program? I don't understand.
I'm
I'm a California American, so I don't know that type of stuff.
Yes, coffee programs is very simple. So we have a great company out of California. It's called iHeartDog. I don't know if you know them. They have a coffee called, Drink Coffee Feed Dogs, and they donate to, as you buy pounds online from them, they donate to shelters. So that's a coffee program. Another coffee program is, Trinidad and Tobago, they sell to hotel convenience stores. That's a coffee program. There is other coffee programs. Say I want to do a single serve. Single serve is like K-Cups, soft pads, cubes, and things that you do at home. So every coffee endeavor, we call them a coffee program because they are all like a fingerprint. They got their own details, and at the end of the day, they don't even conflict with each other. They are so independent, that we just call them coffee programs.
Well, outside of advertising, how do you get your coffee program known to the outside world? I mean, how would I know that something like that is donating to the shelter? I mean, unless they're spending millions or billions of dollars on advertising, I wouldn't even know. So how do you even find out about these type of programs?
Well, I think they grow organically, and depending on the marketing budget of every company is their growth, but they all grow in a very positive. So I have a program here at Barista. It's with a team of young people from Colombia that are working on their Latino community here in Tampa, and they are selling coffee to them. Supremo Coffee. Every company does their own advertisement. I just provide in the raw material and help them with branding.
So what is your role then? Are you a marketeer?
No, what I do is actually I have the coffee. So I bring the coffee, I roast the coffee, I provide them the branding guidelines, and I make sure that I maintain their quality. So my capper will cup the coffees, and they tell me plus or minus what qualities they want. Always I them on up.
You faded in and out a little bit there, so I don't know about your phone. But
you hear me?
Now I can hear you. So
yeah. So I only sell Supremo Nap. So anything Supremo Nap, they get to pick on their blends, their roast profiles, and also, the packaging that they want.
And so how many companies, well, let me ask you a question. So how many companies are you working with?
Oh, it's probably like, I don't know, I would have to think it's about over 30 or 40. And they grow.
And are you using the same coffee? So if you're using the Supreme coffee, are you using the same coffee at all of those locations, and they're just branding it their own name, or are you picking out like, hey, this company it has to be an 85, this company has to be an 87, this company it has to be a 92, and you're branding it that way?
Yeah, that's the way I run it. Everybody has their own identity, and I make sure that I don't create conflict of interest, and I make sure that people are not competing with the same raw material. Everybody has their own lane, and they have their own growth, and the growth can be infinitive because for example, Trinidad and Tobago, if somebody comes and say, I will buy 3 times what the person that is buying from you, I will not sell because, I have a relationship. I'm growing. I have a foundation there, correct? So more than anything, we're not looking here just to make money and to grow a bank account. We are here to help everybody grow together. It comes the same thing with the farmers. It comes the same thing with the milling facilities that separate the qualities. We are very loyal to everybody that participates on the team. because there is ample opportunity to provide value-added proposition. The only thing you just got to pick your lane.
But coffee prices fluctuate. Like if there's a big rainstorm or hurricane hits Colombia and the crop is wiped out, the pricing is going to go up. If there's a drought, pricing could go up. So how do you handle those fluctuations in pricing?
The way I handle them, and I've been doing it for 3 years, and I don't pay attention to the C market, neither do I pay attention to the dollar exchange. I send as much money as possible to the farms. They are providing the biggest value-added proposition, which is the coffee, correct? So it's their right to make the most money, And, if you just want to sell me the green coffee in Colombia and I pay you in advance, I pay you to what we cap in Colombia and where you give it to us, correct? But if they say, Jimmy, I want to work the program this way, I want to sell it, just bring it to the United States, sell it to my own consumer, and I'd be more than happy to support you with that also. So, what we do is we have a very open and clear communication with everybody, and they all participate, however they want to participate. So I don't go into the commodity, and I don't go into negotiating coffee. And, I'll give you an example. There was a company in Honduras that wanted to send us, their coffee for Yellow Rooster, and at the end of the day, it was in 85 points. So we still purchase the coffee at a very good price, and we are helping them to get to that quality so we can increase the price. So we don't work on, supply and demand and see prices and getting the coffee, as cheap as possible so we can resell it for a profit. No, we work on relationships. And if there is a drought, then it's a drought for everybody. But we're still going to have those farmers.
But the pricing will be different. So, don't you enter into contracts with companies like Company X? We're going to supply, and the company needs to know what the pricing is. And then if there's a big fluctuation in the price, won't that affect you?
No, it doesn't. And our customers do not demand that. Our customers are willing to pay based on market conditions. So our customers are very, very aware of everything. They know the cost of the farm. They know all the costs. The end consumer, my customer, knows all the prices and all the breakdowns. And my fee is flat. So they all know what money I make, and they just say, Jimmy, based on this market condition, this is my price. And it's just the best way to work, because at the end of the day, you're not gambling with your relationship. You want to maintain, if my customer says, this coffee, it was 85 and now it's 83, I'm going to sell the coffee for 83. I'm not going to sell it at 85 and have a long conversation about how it's an 85 when it's not. We sell what is in front of us.
Are you selling to distributors? Are you selling to coffee places like the coffee beans and that type of restaurant? Who's your end user? Not who's your end user, but who are you selling to?
Yes, I do not sell to the restaurants or hotels. So I'm not selling the market. I sell to, micro roasters. Micro roasters and coffee distributors. That's what I sell to.
Now, are micro is that like in the brewery business, in the beer business, where you can make different types of flavored coffees?
Yeah, well, no, a macro roaster is a roaster that is a big size, like you say, Maswell House, Starbucks, community coffee. They buy container lots. They have a very good relationship at Origin. They do not need my service unless they want competition coffees. If they want competition coffees and it's like 300 pounds, 1,000 pounds, 2,000 pounds, then they will come and say, Jimmy, can I have a competition coffee from this farm, or a competition coffee from Ventola Coffee, or a competition coffee from Peru? And then we just go and select it, and we say this coffee is going to be above 90. So if you see like Onyx out of Arkansas, they just went with a competition coffee, and they sold a packet of 4 for $100, and they sold out within 12 hours.
Alex.
Because every farm has a story, has everything, the type of seed, the type of treatments, the type of processes. So the coffee market, and you will think that it's only coffee people, but a lot of, young people between 19 and 31, they are very, very aware of what's going on with the coffee industry.
Yeah,
You know,
I think it's like a fine wine there, Brien. I think what you're seeing here, I do see this when I travel to Northern California, where people are, paying $25 to $35 for a cup of coffee.
What?
And what they're doing is, like Phil's and places like that. They order it. Young people are in the tech industry. They order it on their iPhone. It tells them it'll be ready in 15 minutes. They drop by in 15 minutes and pick it up, and it's $24 to $35. So I think people are aware of it like fine wine. They do believe it's worth paying for. I mean, my wife hits McDonald's in the morning and it's 99 cents, but hey, to each their own, right?
yes.
But is that is that really an 85, Alex?
I don't know. I'd have to ask Jimmy if McDonald's is an 85 or better.
No, speak English. No. We also work in Yellow Rooster in the West Coast. We are, working with Mary Santos. She was the ex-president of Women in Coffee around the world. And actually we're going to be there for, International Coffee Day, one making a donation for Honduras Women in Coffee, and also supporting the West Coast with our portfolio, whatever we see that we can feed. So we do a lot of cuppings. We do a lot of public cuppings around the United States to promote the coffees and to let people see the quality that we do have. And, it takes a lot of work and a lot of investment, but it also takes a great team of people. I mean, the people that I work with, I mean, I'm telling you, I am just the instrument. I'm not the music. They are the music.
I think Jimmy ignored the 85 or better at McDonald's, though. I think he did that on purpose. What do you think, Brien?
Absolutely. If he's telling me that Starbucks is in the low 80s, I would presume that I'm thinking that those type of stores are probably in the 70s.
Well, it could be.
I mean, no, I think like the lowest coffees that you can trade, because there is a guideline of what you can ship out of the country, correct? The country doesn't leave a lot of defects, because if Colombia spends $5 billion on marketing, they're not going to allow to send a lot of defects to the United States or send coffees that don't taste right. So, one of the biggest, opportunities to grow here in America is the roast profile. No matter if the coffee is 84, 85, 95, even we get close to 100, if you don't roast the coffee, the attributes, the profiles, and the cupping notes are going to disappear or are going to be very hard to find.
Right.
So I believe that the roast levels are a little bit high. So you get this, charcoal type of taste that it goes great with milk and sugar, but when you drink it black, it's going to be just not as pleasant as if you were to light roast the coffee.
And those $25 cups of coffee in the Silicon Valley, what is that, a 93, 94?
Yeah, those are competition coffees, and trust me, I will pay for that. And the most important thing is, and I'm not trying to sound romantic just because I'm in the radio, man, this is my first time. I'm telling you, the company and enjoying that and getting into this whole discovery of very good cup of coffee. And at the end of the day, it's not necessary to go to a $35 cup of coffee to start. You go from a UGQ to a Supremo to, Chick-fil-A sells good coffee from Costa Rica, specialty only. Chick-fil-A. Wow. So you go to Chick-fil-A and you get an amazing cup of coffee. And from there you start, well, let me try this. Let me go to a local roaster. Let me go to a local coffee shop. Let me buy my own coffee. Let me buy my chemist. Let me buy my scale. Let me check my water, because the water and the quality of the water sometimes is a big factor on the end result.
That's true. You got water as that other factor. It's like New York pizza, right? Brien, New York pizza, it's all about the water. So
well, it's not just pizza, it's bagels too.
Okay, there we go.
Well, if I had time to share a story, I got a friend here in Tampa, and, I started giving him good coffee. He is up to about over $1,000 on renovations in his house, and I'm not mean to scare anybody, because I went to his house and I said, your water has a defect. So he had to change the water system, because, water is 98% of the cup. So if he has too much chlorine or if he has a bad taste, it's gonna transfer into the cup.
Wow.
I think there's a lot of truth to that. That's very true.
Yeah, you want, just for your listeners, you want about 50 to 100 parts per million on your water.
How many parts?
Parts per
chlorine.
million. Yeah, the hardness on the water. Yes.
Hardness. Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. That is a lot about coffee. So, how do you translate this coffee into income and business?
You just sell it for a profit, and you tell people there is no discount on quality. There is no discount on service. We serve with grace. We are transparent, and we are here just to provide a value-added proposition. The day we're not providing a value-added proposition, we should not earn an income. Very simple. We work hard, and we make sure that we protect our customer, that we give them good coffee, and that we stay by our quality, and that they know that we are treating everybody in the supply chain fine.
How do customers find you?
Instagram, they know, our customers know who we are, and because of the circle that I've been in the coffee business since 2006, and it's been the same legacy, treating people right, even when I was selling equipment, and I was very successful. And not to talk about me, I mean, I give it to God, man. This is God, and this is since I was little in Colombia. I always work with grace and faith. And at the end of the day, I think if you do things with grace, if you do things with, pride, meaning not prideful, but to represent something good, because time is valuable, correct?
Absolutely.
I know people know about you. People hear about you. People call you and say, I had this opportunity. And you say, I wish I sold burritos, but I don't, but I can sell you coffee. People come with different things that don't relate to coffee.
We got to take, sorry about that. We got to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
The city of Santa Clarita has so much going on this year. Be on the lookout for amazing events happening throughout the year, including the Cowboy Festival, concerts in the park, Thursdays at New Hall, and the Santa Clarita Marathon. There are also a number of fun activities and things to do year-round, including outdoor recreation, hiking and bike trails, adult classes, art exhibits, youth sports programs, and more. You can even sign up to be a volunteer. Learn more at santa-clarita.com.
When you're looking for a midnight snack, sometimes fast food just doesn't cut it. California Bakery and Cafe is open 24/7, so you'll be able to find fresh donuts, danishes, bagels, all-natural fruit juices, gourmet sandwiches, and much more at any hour. With elaborate cakes for any occasion, including weddings, baptisms, anniversaries, corporate events, or any special event. California Bakery and Cafe in Santa Clarita is open 24 hours to satisfy any craving, anytime. Call us, 255-1254. That's 255-1254.
If you have a business problem, if someone doesn't honor their agreement and you need an aggressive attorney with over 27 years experience, the law office of Peter Bronstein has helped partners resolve disputes, franchisees resolve disputes, and other business owners who have a challenge. Let the law office of Peter Bronstein take your stress away. Visit lacorporateattorney.com. Don't wait too long and lose your rights. Solve your business challenge problem today. Visit lacorporateattorney.com. We all know sometimes people lose their way. If you or someone you know is struggling with addiction, the Way Out Recovery SCV may have the answers you've been waiting for. The Way Out is the premier intensive outpatient treatment center serving Santa Clarita. Asking for help is the first step. Call The Way Out today, 661-296-4444. That's 296-4444 for a private free assessment. The Way Out is an accredited, affordable outpatient program that accepts most insurance. Call us at 661-296-4444 or check us out online at thewayoutrrecoveryscv.com. Quit battling with yourself. Ask The Way Out for help today.
It's like no other station I've ever listened to. It's great.
Your hometown station.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Ask Brien Radio Show, AskBrien. And we're listening to, we have a great guest today, Mr. Jimmy Avendano and our co-host, Alex Grossman. Alex is waiting for, oh my God, should I take off my earphones? No. Okay, we're
I had
back.
my earphones up because I was afraid you were going to scream it out. So
because
I have to put them back in now.
My goal is to be inconsistent so that you never know what I'm going to do. And I think I've achieved that goal, at least in terms of being the screamer. Anyway, we're back, and we were speaking to our guest, Jimmy Avendano. He was going over so many things about coffee. I mean, if you want to become a coffee expert, you need to listen to the show if you haven't listened to the whole show. It is on Facebook Live and will be on YouTube. But I wanted to ask Jimmy about a couple of things. So let's say I'm not in the coffee business, and I'm trying to grow my business. How did you start and grow your business, even though you had a background in coffee? You know, maybe you're trying to sell a high-end coffee to people. That's got to be a difficult market because there's fewer people in that market. How did you start out, and how could somebody that's not in the coffee business figure out how to go after high-end people like that? What did you do?
Yes, and I did make a little mistake in the beginning that cost a lot of money and a lot of time and a lot of hard times. So one of the things is, to focus really on what you want to do, on what you truly desire to do, because coffee has so many different areas where you can either concentrate or just get confused and start trying to do all of it. So doing a lot of things in coffee, it doesn't work, because then you become an expert on nothing. So you got to be very secure of what you want to do and stay concentrated. Don't lose sight of it. If it's running a coffee shop, you have to run the best coffee shop. If it's providing institutional coffee, which is selling coffee to restaurants around your area, you have to be the best at that. Or if it's fixing equipment, you have to just really, learn, do the education. There is formal education that you can get. There is certifications that you can obtain through the SCA, and really, really, really know what you're talking about, correct? Because the consumer knows when somebody's just talking about something that they don't know. So when you're talking about something, make sure that it's something that you truly know, and you do have the hours of experience, how you said in the beginning.
How do you become the best?
By being a student and by complimenting with everybody, by not being selfish. I think everybody in coffee is a beautiful community. I don't think nobody's shy to share information, and as long as you provide a value-added proposition to them, that it doesn't have to be exclusive or for life or anything. It's just like, let me be your barista for 2 weeks, but teach me. Let me be your roaster for 3 weeks, but teach me. Let me pack coffee for you, but teach me. And, people say, man, listen, I got an open heart. We're in the coffee, man. We're the highest rated commodity. Everybody loves coffee. And, there is very few people that are selfish and negative, but they do usually change into a positive note.
Well, that's very interesting. So you mentioned that you started out, or you got a lot of people in the beginning with Instagram. Did you do that Instagram stuff yourself, or did you hire somebody?
Well, no, I with big groups that they all had it on Instagram, and I work with people that are like my brothers in coffee, that we complement each other, and then we just grow it organically, because then we just put real content about what we do, and even in Facebook too. So we really share things that are, we don't put a lot of information. We just do the normal activity that we do, and we just reflect what we're doing every day.
What is your website?
Well, I got I don't have official website. We mostly go by our Instagram. I mean, our website is just a placeholder. It's called www.yellowroostercoffee.com. My if you go to Yellow Rooster Instagram, or you can go into Nadi10. Nadi10 is NADHY 10, and you can find me on Facebook as Jimmy L. Nadi. If you send me a message, and if you need my phone number, I give you my cell number too, and call me, and I take the phone call, or if you send me a message, I'll be more than happy to reply.
Well, this is a radio show, so I don't know if you want to give out your cell phone number, but the other information certainly would be helpful.
Okay.
That's your call. You can do what you want.
I mean, if you want to know, I told you I'm not shy about it, I'm more than happy. Whatever you think is good for your listeners.
Well, maybe just join Ask Brien as an expert, and then when people come to Ask Brien, if they got a coffee question, they'll contact you, right?
That would be beautiful. Yes.
So just apply to become an expert.
I will
Unfortunately,
do that.
Unfortunately, our show is very, very short today, and we're going to be running out of time. So I really appreciate all of your information. I learned a great deal about coffee that I never knew before, and I'm glad to have you on the show, and hopefully we'll have you back. Thank you very much, Jimmy Avendano, and thank you, Alex Grossman.
Hey, thank you, guys, and you guys have a nice
Thanks, Jimmy.
day.
Thanks, Brien.
Thank you. Bye-bye.